They sold my childhood room, and I learned in a text. My drawings, letters, the corner where I learned to write, gone. I felt erased and small, like a whole past traded like furniture. I didn't scream. I got quiet, collected papers, and planned a legal quiet that would force them to undo what they thought they'd lost. Name's Claire. I'm 29, an urban planner in Columbus, Ohio. The moment I opened that text, my chest dropped. This had been my room since I was a kid. They sold it like a piece of furniture. My mom sent a photo of a stranger in my bed. I felt exposed and small. I had boxes of memories in a storage unit and receipts showing I paid for half the windows. My mom, Linda, is practical and impatient. She called it closing the estate and told me she thought I'd be okay. She assumed wrong. There was a line in a family email that said my name was on the deed for simplicity. I messaged a friend from college who had become a paralegal. She said calmly, "Check the county records." That sentence was the first small victory. I logged into the county site that night. The deed did list me. My name was on the title, exactly as the email implied. If my name was on the deed, my mom had no right to sell without me. My breath evened out. My anger turned to a plan. My stakes were clear: security, memories, and a small inheritance that could vanish if I let this slide. I had plans to save for a down payment. Losing those drawers and boxes was losing a timeline I couldn't afford. I knew public records and paper trails could help me. My paralegal friend, Jenna, said she could look over what I found. She warned me not to confront my mom without documents. "Let the papers speak," she said. That line stuck. That night, I printed every record I could download and scribbled notes into a legal pad. I made a folder labeled "Do Not Open." Foreshadowing mattered. A single misplaced receipt would be the hinge later. I kept my cool and built a quiet file. They had no idea what was coming next. Part of my life felt invalidated in that moment. I replayed every holiday, every fight, every small kindness, and wondered where the line had been crossed. My relationship with my mother had always tilted toward control, dressed as care. My father, Tom, stayed quiet and avoided money conversations. I called him. He said he trusted my mom to handle the house. That answer felt like another betrayal. I needed proof of my contributions and a legal foothold. The deed was one, but I also had a stack of canceled checks. My old roommate Priya helped me locate emails where my mother had confirmed my right to keep the room. Those emails were tiny victories, but I needed more than words. After a few nights of fixing dinner for myself and forcing sleep, I started a proper inventory. I listed everything I could remember: boxes of notebooks, a trunk with letters, a cedar chest, art supplies. I wrote down dates, small moments tied to each object. Those details would matter if someone tried to call my claims sentimental instead of legal. I checked bank statements and found transfers to home improvement accounts and a wire to a mover's company with my name. Each document tightened the picture. I called Jenna and read everything aloud. She asked for copies and promised to draft witness statements. Her calm kept me steady. I avoided phone fights with my mom and saved the energy for files and facts. At night, I pictured the county clerk's page and felt a quiet, growing confidence. I had more than memory. I had traces. If I could show them in order, I might stop the sale. I had to act. After a week of probing, a neighbor sent me a video of movers carrying boxes out while my mom smiled. That video hit different. It made the sale feel public and irreversible. Then the buyer called, demanding a quick vacancy inspection. The pressure mounted. My mom brushed it off in front of the buyer as a misunderstanding about sentimental items. I started getting messages from other relatives with opinions about family practicalities. My old letters were being sorted like trash. The sale became a story everyone told without asking me. I learned that the buyer planned to renovate and rent the room out within 30 days. If I didn't act, the physical evidence of my past would vanish in new drywall and fresh paint. I felt time pressing. I hated the idea of a stranger erasing the corners of my childhood with a paint roller. I pictured my graded papers, the first drawing my dad praised, the envelope with the prom ticket tucked inside. Those things mattered in ways money could not measure. I texted Priya and asked her to check the storage locker. She reported boxes had been removed, but labeled boxes with my name remained. That small detail gave me leverage. I began drafting an email to my mom that I would never send. It read, "You didn't have the right to sell my interest. We need to fix this legally." I closed the document and did not send it. I would use the courts, not anger. I had to act. The local neighborhood association even posted about the successful transfer on a social feed. Comments praised my mom for making a hard but smart choice. Those likes stung. I realized the damage wasn't just to my things, it was to my reputation in a town that still whispered. My job required community trust and calm focus. The stress leaked into code reviews and plans. I started losing sleep and missed an important presentation. My boss noticed. I didn't want pity. I wanted restoration and quiet justice. Foreshadowing mattered. One line in my folder, a notarized note, would later be the linchpin. I had to convert private hurt into something the law could act on. I made a clear timeline, payments I had made, improvements I had funded, and emails where my mom acknowledged my rights. I documented the mover video and secured a sworn statement from the neighbor. Jenna helped me format witness statements. Every factual piece built momentum. My mother texted that she had only wanted to settle things before an upcoming surgery. That sounded plausible, but the deed and the receipts said otherwise. I learned how quickly a narrative can erase a person if no one stands with facts. I stopped posting on social feeds and started printing. I had to act. I didn't want a dramatic showdown. I wanted a clean, legal fix and a moral win. Jenna, the paralegal, agreed to help gather records. Priya volunteered to be a witness. I hired a small property attorney, Aaron, who specialized in quiet title and family transfers. We outlined a strategy: confirm title status, gather proof of my contributions, file for an injunction, and prepare a quiet title action. We aimed to force mediation before anything irreversible happened. The plan was calm, pace-controlled, and strictly legal. No social media rants, no leaks. We built a paper trail: bank transfers, emails, photos, a sworn witness statement from Priya. Everything had to be airtight. The buyer's attorney would poke at every loose seam. Aaron emphasized the need for restraint. He said loud drama could make judges less sympathetic. Let the facts lead, he said. I agreed. We scheduled a rapid check of county filings and asked a clerk to flag any wanted changes. I prepared a binder labeled plainly with dates and evidence. We planned to request an emergency hearing if the buyer tried to alter the property. The idea of an injunction felt formal, but powerful. A neutral hand would pause the sale. I slept less, but my sleep was purposeful. I had to act. Aaron explained the risks: litigation cost, emotional exposure, and the chance of a settlement where I got money, but not the room. I accepted those risks because the room was about more than finances. We filed the initial documents quietly and requested an emergency hearing to stop the buyer from altering the property. The judge granted a temporary restraining order based on the clear title evidence and our sworn statements. That pause gave us leverage to negotiate. It also surprised my mom. She called me furious, saying I had embarrassed her. I stayed calm on the phone and let Aaron respond. Her fury was useful. It showed she thought money and speed would trump paperwork. The pause also gave me time to prepare a mediated solution that favored restoration. We lined up witnesses, pulled county clerk certified copies, and asked the storage manager to produce a list of items removed. Those small, formal steps kept the case moving. I learned to trust process over shouting. The law had a rhythm. I matched it. I had to act. The mediation day arrived in a small conference room with beige walls and a tired coffee machine. The buyer sat across the table, a young landlord who had bought on impulse. My mom sat beside him, flushed. Aaron opened the packet of records. We presented a clear timeline of payments and promises. Priya gave a short, factual statement about helping me pack boxes years earlier and witnessing my mother promise the room stay mine. The buyer's lawyer shifted when the county deed printed with my name appeared on the table. Faced with the paperwork and the threat of quiet title litigation, the buyer asked for a settlement. We negotiated calmly. The buyer agreed to rescind the sale, return the items still in storage, and pay a small sum for inconvenience. My mom's face folded in a way I had rarely seen. She mouthed sorry, but did not argue. Aaron wrote the agreement into the minutes, and we signed a mediated settlement that returned the room and the items and clarified how future property decisions would be made in writing. It was quieter than I expected and cleaner than any public fight would have been. I left the room feeling both relieved and oddly hollow. I had to act. After the mediation, the house felt different. My boxes were back in my room, and the painted-over corner I loved was restored. My mom and I had one hard conversation where she admitted she had been overwhelmed by bills and made a selfish decision. She apologized without theatrics. I accepted, but did not forget. The legal files stayed in a drawer as a reminder. My relationship didn't snap back to what it was, but a new boundary had formed. I insisted on written agreements for future property decisions. I returned to work with a steady calm and improved focus. The community whispers faded when the facts were out. The revenge was quiet and legal. It didn't humiliate anyone publicly, but it enforced responsibility. I learned that calm procedure and paper could be sharper than shouting. The small justice felt like reclaiming my life. I slept in my old room the first night with the boxes near the bed and a legal envelope locked in a desk drawer. In the end, I had my room, my dignity, and a new sense of how to protect both. I had to act.